So no matter what people say, computer repair is not dead. It'll always be needed in some fashion, even if it's for specialty work. This computer, Compaq Presario, I think it's pronounced, was built for a Windows 2000 or Millennium Edition. So it gives you an idea of the age. Anyway, the thing is this runs a Sign Shops cutter, a vinyl cutter. And the software is in here, and it runs it through the parallel port, I believe. Anyway, it's the only piece of software that he has for it, and the software is over $1,000. The company won't work with him on it. He has the dongle key that makes it work. That's a device that plugs into the USB port so that the software works. But he only has one copy of the software, and he's called them and they just refuse to give him another copy. So it's important that we get what's off the hard drive or get this computer running again. And I always elect to try to get the old equipment running first, rather than just pulling hard drives and stuff like that out of there. So anyway, let's go ahead and hook this up and see what's wrong with it. Now, the guy that owns this sign company is also a friend of mine. And the software's on another machine, but the other machine's just way too slow. So we do have 2 copies of the software. But he said there's no activity on the screen at all. You know, that's what he said, but we'll check it out. I've got an old monitor, keyboard, and mouse here. And I always go with the simple ones. These are the PS2 connections, like this. So if you have older hardware, always go simple. This is a PS2 connection on this bald mouse, okay? And the reason why I do that is if it's a driver issue, these things may work where a USB device would not, okay? And also this is just a VGA monitor. So we're checking old hardware with old hardware, and that's the way it should be. So anyway, without yakking any further, what's your guesses? If there's no fans, I asked him if he could hear anything, and he said no. But you know, sometimes the customer isn't as observant as we would like. But if there are no fans, I'm hoping it's the power supply, you know, something simple. Okay, there's my bet. Let's go ahead and start it up. I may change my guess though after if the fans start. So anyway, let's check this out and see what's wrong with it. He has to get his vinyl cutter back, and maybe I'll borrow that vinyl cutter if you guys are interested in seeing it. I'll have him drop it off and lend it to me, and we'll look at it, maybe take it apart. Anyway, let's hook this up and see what it does or doesn't do. Here's my VGA plug. And the power cable. Let's see if we can hear anything. Okay, here we go. And the screen is working. Yeah, we're not getting anything. She's as dead as they get. Power button's squeaky, isn't it? So yeah, he's not getting anything. Dead, dead, dead. Let's open it up and take a look at that power supply. So for this job, I need test equipment. I can just swap it out for another hard drive, or I can just get my test equipment out here. Look at this. I even got a ghost meter in my test equipment. That's what we're after right there. Yep. By the way, if you want one of these power supply testers, I'll put a link up in the corner. You can go get your own. I did a video on these. I'll link the video in. Let's go ahead and plug this in one more time with the cover open. And something I do want to do too is check this red switch on the back. It's set for 115 volts, but I've seen where a kid or somebody's played with that switch and put it over to 220. You know, in Europe that will work, but not here. So I checked that, and that's not the case. Let's go ahead and plug it in. Hopefully you can see down in there with my little camera here. I'm pressing the power button. There's absolutely nothing. I'm checking the harness to my switches, which goes up to there. It's probably the power supply. I wouldn't be surprised if there's no power on the rail at all on anything, because that thing seems very dead. I mean, I can test it, but I think it's going to be pointless. Let's do it. Alright, I've got my power supply tester connected. I don't expect it to do nothing, but let's try it anyway. There we go. So yeah, nothing. Let's yank that power supply out of there. So the first thing I want to do is disconnect all the cables from any hard drives, just the power cables. Make sure there's no P4 connectors to the motherboard. On this one it doesn't look like there is. Hard to do stuff when you have equipment in the way to see too. Okay, 4 screws. This is an old school supply, you can tell. It doesn't have any connections for a SATA drive at all. You know, it's all PS2 stuff with the old connectors. These 4-pin Mullocks. I'm going to go ahead and rummage through my box of used power supplies. I probably have something close to this. This is a 200 watt power supply. That should be easy to find. I looked through my box of used power supplies and I found this one. It's a 250 watt and it has all the right plugs on it. Here's the old one here. So this is a 200 watt, so he's getting a little bit more. This computer doesn't require much. 250 should be fine. So I'm not going to put it in there. I'm just going to hook up the motherboard cable and see if I can get the BIOS screen, and if I can, then I'll, you know, bolt it in and stuff. But first we got to check and make sure this is the problem. So I'm just taking this plug here and putting it down on there. Okay, here we go. There's no hard drive or anything hooked up, just the motherboard. Oh, look at there. And look, it says Compaq. The fan's running strong, it sounds good. The fan's running on this. I can feel it. So yeah, very lucky on this one. A lot of times if the power supply takes a hit, say like a surge or a lightning or something, a lot of times it'll knock the power supply out completely and then continue on to the motherboard and take that out too, and then you're done. But this one looks like it's going to fire up. I'm going to go ahead and shut it off, continue hooking it up, and I'll bolt it back in and we'll try it one more time. Oh, did you hear that? Yep, let's do that now. So that's all it was a dead power supply. And he's really lucky because, like I said before, a lot of times it'll blow the power supply and it'll go on to the motherboard, and then, you know, your computer's junk after that. So that was an easy fix. And, you know, you can pick up power supplies fairly cheap. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, leave us a thumbs up and let me know what you're thinking about this video in the comments below. And thanks for watching. If you want me to get that vinyl cutter from that guy, let me know. I think it'd be interesting to take a look at. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.